Hey y'all, this is Marley K. Hope everybody is well. Hold on a second, let me get my microphone adjusted. All right, that is better. All right, hope everybody is doing well. I wanted to share a story about climate change, and I'm talking about it because COP29 is going on right now. It's very important that we watch what's going on at COP29 because the UN is speaking. And when they speak, we need to pay attention because that is who will be a part of the B system. I don't know if they're actually going to lead it, but they're definitely spearheading it right now, along with the World Economic Forum. But as we've talked about over the last couple of years, there are a couple of different scenarios and agendas that could play out that create the main chaos for the entire world that leads us into this new world order. So I will, try to bring you stories that venture down the pathways of all the ones that I see. If you see anything else, feel free to let me know in the comment sections. But right now, I know there's the possibility of weather playing a huge role in national declarations and international declarations so that these people will get power to do whatever it is that they need to do to get us closer to this one world government, technocracy, 24-hour 7-day-a-week surveillance, Soylent Green, and all those things, Internet of Things, Web 3.0, digitalization, Depop, the deletion of many peoples, and anything else that's going on, pestilences and plagues, famines. So we must pay attention to these things while we are here on this planet in captivity. The whole planet is getting ready to go into captivity. So we just need to keep abreast of what's going on with this talk. And so one thing I want you to pay attention to is this story came out in Bloomberg magazine. Y'all know who Bloomberg magazine belongs to. And it's about climate change. The story came out the exact same day that COP29 started. So the powers are speaking. They're speaking to each other. They're speaking to those of us who are awakened and talking over the heads of everybody else. So let's get into it. So it says the world's best hope to beat climate change is vanishing. So it says to have a chance against global warming, key economies and industries need to hit crucial emissions targets by 2030. They're far off track. Now, this is problematic, and I'm going to explain to you why this is an issue. And it's an issue because they're saying, oh, things are so bad right now that we got to do something drastic. That's basically what they're getting ready to tell you. So as we head into 2025, y'all know they're getting ready to unleash the Kraken. The Kraken is already is presenting its ugly head. So I'm talking about this because I can kind of see some things happening. And if you look at that video that I posted with Into Thin Air, where he basically, if you've been following his channel for the last couple of weeks, he's been like hot, like watchmen on the wall screaming hot, unabashedly about weather modification and all these different things, NORAD, radar, stuff being put into the atmosphere to exacerbate the natural flow of weather, winds, water, etc. Um, been showing stuff about the hurricanes and why they keep hitting the west coast of Florida. Um, he did a piece about the storm, Hurricane Helene, the one that came through and like devastated our area. And like we are nowhere near the coast, but it looked like we had a hurricane, like a direct hit when it was all said and done. So, and there's no explanation. Why didn't we get a warning? How come we didn't know it was going to be so bad? Um, why was North Carolina hit? The mountains in particular. What I find interesting is the places that the Most High told us to go when we need to flee are the places that are being destroyed. So pay attention to those things. Places that we're supposed to go in the end times. Look and see how those areas are faring. They're not faring well, and it's for a reason, in my opinion. That's just my thoughts. So anyway, as you can see, this article was posted on November the 11th, 2024, and I'm going to take you to the UN website for the opening, pieces of the opening speech from the Secretary General of the UN, Gutierrez. And we're going to scroll through the UN's website for COP29, which is going on right now. It's from the 11th to the 22nd. So we really got to pay attention to what's happening right now. Okay, so it says, in just over 5 years, the world will arrive at its first major checkpoint on climate action. A 2030 deadline to meet a series of green targets aimed at avoiding the most devastating impacts of global warming. So, again, this is just my 2 cents. I feel like the adversary knows that their time is short. They know actual time. These fallen angels know when the Most High is supposed to come back. They've been spraying the sky, so we don't see the moon and stuff. Like, we don't know anything. We could just assume nothing that we see or know is real. Like, we are just relearning everything, and things that we should have learned in Christianity that were hidden from us, we are now discovering are things that we should have been learning about long time ago, so that we wouldn't fear them, so that we would know what is what is going to be expected and how to prepare for it, because we ain't ready for giants. We're not ready for earthquakes and floods and all these different things that the scriptures talk about will happen during the last days, and it will be like the days of Noah and and Lot. Like, we ain't ready for that. Nobody's prepared Christians. So, we are discovering all this stuff by ourselves, but we're also having to put pieces into place about, what will happen during the end times. And there are a lot of people, that are, getting, downloads from the Holy Spirit on what to tell the people. The people just are not really focused on this type of stuff, because the adversary has all sorts of devices to keep people distracted and misled. So what we're trying to do is not be misled and pay attention to all the things that we need to pay attention to. Climate, weather are 2 things that we need to pay attention to, because we don't have any control over them. We don't have control over nothing, but I'm just saying, if it's being modified by the adversary, we need to pay attention, because it means that you have to endure to the end, and you are responsible for how you endure, and the traps that the adversary is going to set for us. So it says, these goals set by governments, listen, governments, Wall Street, big tech, and major polluting companies. These are the people who are controlling the new global order. It's not us. They're the ones who are either controlling it or going to have to go along with what them folk tell us to do, or tell them to do, or suffer the consequences. And the goals are intended to put the global economy on a path to finally start reducing the amount of greenhouse gases accumulating in the atmosphere. So as you can see, everything is about money. Everything is about money. I'm going to say it again. Everything is about money. Money, the love of money is the root of all evil. So here is this is one of the simplest ways we can do ourselves some service and some justice in days, in times, is to not consume, to figure out how you can get out of this system, come out of the matrix, set yourself apart, stop buying stuff you don't need. Try to live way below your means. If you have the opportunity to pay off things, pay off things. If you have the opportunity to buy things, even if it's like a little piece of land that you can call Goshen for your people, do that. You really have to be strategic, and I know it's difficult, but we gotta stop feeding the beast. These people are greedy, and they know they've got people conditioned to be prepared to always, work and give them your money. It's basically slavery. We're all just debt slaves. Um, and they know the earth is heating up because the Most High said that's one of the ways that He was going to destroy the earth. He's going to destroy it by fire. So they want to keep it from getting hot. At least that's what they say. But in my opinion, it's more to it. I don't know exactly what it is. At the end of the day, I really think it has everything to do with this mark of the beast. So again, we just gotta pay attention to who's pulling the strings in all of this. And as you can see, is not the people. The people are not even mentioned. Like nothing is mentioned about people or humanity or nothing. Everything is about money and politics and technology. So you see government, Wall Street, money, big tech, technocracy. Just the beast system in a nutshell. So if you want to just boil it down to that, we can. Okay, so it says, and that was before, oh, I'm sorry. These goals set by government, Wall Street, big tech, and major polluting companies are intended to put the global economy back on a path to finally start reducing the amount of greenhouse gases accumulating in the atmosphere. Yet, far from being in retreat, carbon dioxide emissions hit a new record last year. That means the world faces a steeper, far costlier, and more disruptive journey to reach net zero by 2050. I don't know why they keep talking about 2050. We ain't going to be here. And that was before the re-election of COP29, with a second term in the White House running until 2029. Interesting, that is right before 2029, right before 2030. His term ends right at 2030. This is why he says he's going to be the last president. Come on now, y'all. Y'all know he said it. This is going to be the last president. It's going to be the last election. Last. These people know. Trump is unlikely to steer the world's second biggest polluter to decarbonize faster than the current pace. In fact, Trump has vowed to undo many of the nation's expansive climate policies and withdraw from global cooperation. The consequences will extend far beyond the U.S. So down below, they talk about what they're not doing, and how things are not working, which basically is telling you whatever they want to do is not possible. So they're going to force us to do something that makes life really unbearable and uncomfortable for most of us, which is why I've been telling y'all for the last couple of years to prepare for a season of discomfort, because that's what it's going to be. You're going to be hot, you're going to be cold, you're going to be bug ate, you're going to be probably floating down a river, or flying in the air like what's the name of that movie, the tornado came through on the Wizard of Oz. We don't know what's going to happen to us. We just got to be prepared to endure to the end. You got to think like you in the army, you're a soldier, you fighting everything. You don't know what you're fighting, but you're fighting everything physically and spiritually. So that's the mindset that everybody should have. We in the war, and everybody ain't in the war. But the people who ain't in the war, they're the enemy too. Until they wake up, they're your enemy. Um, and the people who are doing this stuff, who know what's going on, they're the enemy. And so that's how you have to perceive everybody. It's just so that you can make peace with how you're going to have to moving forward. So it says each year the world falls behind, increases the risk of more extreme weather that will put millions of people at risk and threaten global economic growth. So all they care about is economic growth. Now, that video that I did with Into Thin Air's video on the weather modification and him showing, radar screenshots of slow motion where you could see them firing stuff into the atmosphere, and then all of a sudden wildfires. All of a sudden, you got a Cat 5 storm in like one day, and it's barreling towards a state that can't possibly be prepared and hitting an area that is slated to become a 15-minute city, or have several 15-minute cities. Or there are places where a lot of black people live and they need to get rid of them jokers like raid and roaches. So we got to pay attention to that. But this is why they raised that hurricane category to Cat 6. And thank God, thank the Most High that nothing they are doing is working. Everything they do, it work a little bit, but it always fail in the end. So they got to try something else. So we really need to understand that the Most High is giving us a lifeline to get our stuff together and to try to awaken as many people as we can, or for people to answer the call, because he's telling folks what's going on. The adversary is telling folks what's going on, but they're just not getting it. So I feel sorry for those people. So it says one recent assessment forecast an IC, or 1 Celsius rise in temperatures that would equate to a 12% hit to the world's gross domestic product. So you see, all they talk about is money. They ain't talking about healing the planet, undoing what they've done. So they want to keep doing what they want to do, but they're going to force us to make the changes so that they can still get rich. We have less. The world is still broken and torn up, and they get to fly on jets to countries and pretend like they're helping us. Like, don't make no sense. But anyway, there are real impacts on people, planet, on industries, on economies if we miss these goals, says Sherry Madeira, Chief Executive Officer of CDP, a nonprofit that pushes companies and governments to disclose data on their climate impact. So, and also, I shared with y'all the story from the S&P. I hope I did. I don't know. I have to go back and look and see, because a lot of these videos, the microphone wasn't working. I thought it was working. I hope it was. But you can see where they're going to have a webinar also right before COP29 about climate data, climate science, and how they were going to, S&P 500 is going, they're going to talk to businesses on how to position themselves to benefit or have windfall from weather issues, weather problems that they create. So we have to keep in mind that everything that's going on is planned, it's created, it's not real. It is real, but it's not real. And it's being allowed to happen because this is just part of end time prophecy. They know their time is running out. So they want to target renewable capacity, like renewable energy, triple renewables. So it says more than 130 nations agreed at COP28 in Dubai last year to triple the deployment of renewable energy by 2030. The International Energy Agency estimates that solar capacity increased about 40-fold between 2010 and 2023, as wind power expanded around six-fold. But as COP29 gets underway in Azerbaijan this week, even the dizzying pace of deployment isn't sufficient to ensure the world hits its target. And then they go into big tech. So get big tech to net zero. Promises by the world's biggest technology companies to aggressively cut emissions, including pledges by Alphabet, Inc.'s Google, and Meta platforms to hit net zero by 2030, are being upended by the rise of artificial intelligence, which makes sense because it's just like data mining. You need electricity to make all this stuff work because it's just not going to work without power. So listen to this stupid stuff that they're talking about doing. While Bill Gates and others believe the technology will ultimately deliver better solutions to accelerate climate action, which is a lie because they're putting this on climate action, but we know artificial intelligence is really going to be God. It's going to be the image of the beast, an image of the beast. It's going to speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. That's what artificial intelligence, which they said is already God-like, that's what it's going to do. Some people think it's Apollyon. I don't know. I just know we need to watch Musky Boy and these techies because they ain't right. Back to the story. While Bill Gates and others believe the technology will ultimately deliver better solutions to accelerate climate action, the need for energy-hungry data processing capacity is delaying progress in the shorter term. Now, they're going to tell us we need to do something, but they keep creating the stuff that generate the need for the thing that they say we need to get rid of. So they're going to do what they want to do. They're going to get rid of us, in a nutshell. Google's emissions are roughly two-thirds higher in most recent annual data than in 2020, with Meta reporting about a 64% increase. Electricity consumption by Facebook owners' data centers globally jumped more than a third in 2023 to almost 15 million megawatt hours and has tripled since 2019. Microsoft Corp's carbon footprint has risen more than 40% since 2020. Now, y'all see this bull swanky? So they're going to be talking out of both sides of their mouths. So if you don't read this stuff, if you listen to them, which we don't listen to them because we already know they ain't right. But it's just the point of the principle. They're saying one thing and doing the complete opposite. They're creating things that create the problems that they say they're trying to get rid of, but then they'll tell us we need to do something about it. We ain't asked for no data centers. We ain't asked for all this surveillance. We ain't asked for the Internet of Things. We ain't asked for Web 3.0. We didn't ask for none of this stuff. We ain't asked for no smart glasses, virtual reality, the metaverse, AI. We ain't asked for it. They gave it to us and said it's going to be better. It's going to make things better. Ain't nothing they done made anything better, but they keep on making stuff saying it's going to be better. So just really have to ignore these crazy people. All right. Halt deforestation. Leaders from more than 130 nations, which together account for more than 90% of the world's forests, committed in 2021 to halt and reverse deforestation and land degradation by the end of the decade. About 6.4 million hectares of forests were lost in 2023, 45% higher than the rate required to put the world on a pathway to meet the 2030 target. So it don't make no sense. Nothing that they do makes sense. Now this one is interesting because I told y'all about Papa passing that law where all cars made in America by 2026 will have to be electric. There will be no more gas or fossil fuel power cars made. So a lot of these automakers had to convert their manufacturing facilities in America to make electric cars. Well, nobody wants the electric cars because you ain't got no place to charge them. You can't escape the storms because they catch on fire. The lithium batteries catch on fire. It's like a whole bunch of issues. And people just don't want them because you have to change your travel route to accommodate power so you can charge your car. It's stupid, but okay. So to sell more electric vehicles, sales of EVs from regular sedans to buses and trucks will have to continue to rise sharply to erase road transport emissions. Now, y'all remember I brought y'all a couple of stories where the insurance company is spying on people or will begin to spy on people so that they can start charging people a astronomical amount of money so that they can't afford to drive fossil fuel cars. And then they're going to create a bunch of fleets of electric cars and they're going to rent them to you. They're going to be really cheap, like $30 a month or something like that for you to have one. So that's how they're going to get you out of your gas powered, fossil fuel powered car into an EV, because to maintain the EV is going to be much cheaper for those of us who are left after the chaos. The smoke clears, I assume. So it says electric models need to account for 70% of new car purchases in 2030 to keep the sector on a net zero path. BNEF forecast. So this means that a lot of people gonna have to buy electric cars. Well, if they have to buy electric cars, what's gonna happen to the fossil fuel cars? Something, I'm sure. They have a plan. They just ain't told us what it was. They did, but not really. So they have a plan to protect the land and the ocean to keep stuff from being extinct. Meanwhile, they're spraying stuff all over the place. Cut fashion's footprint. So fashion brands and textiles producers want to limit emissions and reduce their consumption of energy and water. Textile Exchange, a nonprofit with more than 800 members, from cotton growers to brands like Chanel, Nike, Lululemon, Athletica, is targeting a 45% cut in the sector's greenhouse gases by the end of the decade. So all these people are still producing stuff for folks to go out and consume. In the same instance, they're saying their target is to cut greenhouse gases by 45% by 2030. Make it make sense. Anyway, y'all get the gist of what I'm saying. They don't make no sense. They lying and they never shut up, like the Run DMC song said. Okay, so the COP29 site is up, and this is the United Nations climate change page. And I'm going to read you a piece of Secretary Guterres' speech. And the title of it is Time to Show Global Cooperation Rising to This Moment. UN Climate Change Executive Secretary at COP29 opening. So I'm going to read you a piece of the speech that he gave. And it was close to the end that I was like, ooh. Okay. So it says, so let's dispense with the idea that climate finance is shared. Oh, let me go up because I missed some stuff. In these halls, we negotiate on specific pieces of the puzzle each year. It can feel far away from what's happening in Florence's living room. We cannot afford to continue upending lives and livelihoods in every nation. So let's make this real. Do you want your grocery store and energy bills to go up even more? Do you want your country to become economically uncompetitive? Do you really want even further global instability costing precious life? This crisis is affecting, now it's supposed to be climate. I don't, how they make these connections, I don't know, but I'm just sharing. It don't make no sense to me, but I guess because my tinfoil hat. This crisis is affecting every single individual in the world one way or another. And I'm as frustrated as anyone that one single COP can't deliver the full transformation that every nation needs. But if any of your answers to those questions was no, then it is here that parties need to agree a way out of this mess. That's why we are here in Baku. We must agree a new global climate finance goal. So it's all about money, which is tied to the mark. If at least 2/3 of the world's nations cannot afford to cut emissions quickly, then every nation pays a brutal price. That's interesting. If nations can't build resilience into supply chains, the entire global economy will be brought to its knees. No country is going to be immune. That's interesting. Pay attention to the words being used now, because they're not big. These words were not chosen for this meeting for no reason. And again, we need to pay attention because we are going to be the collateral damage. So let's dispense with the idea that climate finance is charity. An ambitious new climate finance goal is entirely in the self-interest of every nation, including the largest and wealthiest. But it's not enough to just agree on a goal. We must work harder to reform the global finance system. Why they got to work to reform the global financial system? What do that got to do with the price of cheese? So you see how they're intertwining stuff together. The climate action is tied to the global financial system and da 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 da. The mark of the beast. This is what they're talking about. And here in Baku, so it says giving countries the fiscal space they so desperately need. And here in Baku, we must get international carbon markets up and running by finalizing Article 6. So international carbon markets. One carbon market. Anytime they say international, just replace it with one. We need to move forward on mitigation so targets from Dubai are realized. We mustn't let a 1.5 slip out of reach. And even as temperatures rise, the implementation of our agreements must claw them back. So everybody who got good, healthy brains and eyes been looking up and seeing them spraying the sky out day and night. It's just getting cool. It's November, and we're just having temperatures drop to the 50s and 40s here in South Carolina. It's felt like Florida, you know, all year long. We have not had any cold weather. But every day, all day long, you see them spraying stuff in the air. And they're telling us, oh, it's nothing. Go back in your house. You don't know what you're seeing. And whatever they're doing is definitely keeping the atmosphere warmer and hiding, making a whole separate, I'll just, for hokey pokes say firmament, so that it's like two skies. It's a sky that's closer to us that makes everything hot and humid, burns everything up, and then there's the real sky that's hiding there all the stuff they don't want us to see. So it says we need to move forward on the mitigation. Oh, I'm sorry. So it says clean energy and infrastructure investment will reach $2 trillion in 2024, almost twice that of fossil fuels. The shift to clean energy and climate resilience will not be stopped. It will not be stopped like Diddy. Can't stop, won't stop. Our job is to accelerate this. They're going to make it faster. You're going to get there faster, whether you want to or not. This is why you got to hold on to your underwear, get you a life raft, get you some life vests, and hope for the best, because we in trouble. It does not matter where you are on the planet, as you can see. Everybody's going to be impacted by this weather modification. Our job is to accelerate this and make sure its huge benefits are shared by all countries and all people. We must agree adaptation targets. You can't manage what you don't measure. So this goes back to the technology or the technocracy. And we need to know if we're on a pathway to increasing resilience. Resilience is the new buzzword that I've been seeing over the last year or two. To me, in my opinion, got my tinfoil hat on, ties back to that article, that webinar that I did with the S&P 500 global, S&P Global. They're planning on making products, peddling them as resilient stuff to governments, local governments. And then local governments are going to have to change their building codes so that when these communities build whatever they're building, or when they go to create space, they have to create space with this resilience code, which is going to create a headache for builders, because builders have to learn how to build things based on this code. And it's already a thing, because I've been seeing it. And then they have grants for communities that, if they want to pursue the resilience pathway, they can apply for funding to do things that will mitigate future climate disaster problems. That's what they say. But anyway, it's all about money. They already told us it's all about money. And we must continue to improve the mechanisms for financial and technical support on loss and damage. So this is where they're talking about insurance. And they need new mechanisms. Well, what are those mechanisms? That's what we don't know. I've not seen anything. But we know that they are canceling people's insurance and not paying what they promised to pay. If you paid that insurance policy, no matter how long you paid for it, if you are in an area where you are impacted by a disaster, or like the people in the mountains were impacted by Hurricane Helene. Okay, well, your policy may not cover hurricanes. And because what came through was a hurricane, you may not get no money, or you may get a little bit for wind damage, a little bit for water damage, but not everything that you could have gotten if you had had a hurricane policy, which you didn't need to really have because you don't live close to the ocean. That type of BS. Like, that's what we're dealing with now. And so they're talking about some new type of mechanism to deal with loss and damage, but not from our perspective. It's from the insurance provider and, government's perspective. Nothing that they're talking about has anything to do with us. So it says we can't make decisions in the dark. Biennial transparency reports due this year will give us a clearer picture of the progress we're making and the gaps that will need to fill. Next year, all countries will deliver their third generation of national climate plans, NDCs. To support countries in creating and communicating them, UNFCCC will launch a climate plan campaign. It will mobilize action from all stakeholders and align with the efforts of the UN Secretary General and the incoming Brazilian COP presidency. In parallel, we'll restart climate weeks for 2025, aligning them more closely with our process and the outcome it must deliver. So I don't know if Climate Weeks is going to be some international campaign, and we're going to be seeing commercials, and probably the Pope going to be talking. And so I don't know what that is, but be on the lookout for it. At the Secretariat, we will continue to work tirelessly with what we have got, while being clear on what funding we need so we can deliver on what's increasingly being asked of us. So I don't know who's supposed to be sending this money. I guess it's us, the debt slaves. That's where the money coming from. And We will keep focus on the safe, inclusive, and meaningful participation of all observers at this COP. In the past few years, we have taken some historic steps forward. We cannot leave Baku without a substantial outcome. Appreciating the importance of this moment, parties must act accordingly. So they got to do something. Show determination and ingenuity here at COP29. We need all parties to push for agreement right from the start to stand and deliver. Now it is the time to show that global cooperation is not down for the count. So I urge you all, let us rise together. I thank you. So that came from the Secretary General. As you can see, they have an agenda, and it is not good. And look at it, they got the little people back here in the background. I don't know if that's a picture. Yeah, that's a picture. So here they create all these problems for us, and then look, we have to deal with, you know, the aftermath, and they get to fly all across the country to talk about, not the country, fly all over the globe to these expensive, exclusive events and discuss the little stuff they're trying to do. So anyway, I'm going to recommend that y'all go through this site. I'll put a link to it in the description as well. There's a lot of stuff on here that y'all need to be paying attention to. Again, this is part of the B system. We have to be hyper vigilant about all these different things, because they're gonna be everybody's coming up with all these plans and laws that impact every person on the planet, and it is pushing us closer to this one world government, this B system. And as they talk about this technology and all this stuff that we're gonna have to stop doing, all this tracking, it impacts us, and that's part of the buying and selling part of the system, the no buy no sell system. So stay alert, keep watch, family. So I want to share this with y'all so you will know COP29 is going on. You need to pay attention what's going on. They have their agendas online. You can look and you can read them. Go through those documents. It is really important so that you know what's going on. The fine details so that you will not be deceived, because at the end of the day, all this is about is avoiding deception so that we will not get their mark. We're going to keep our mark of the Most High. All right. Please like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell notification so that you'll be notified each and every time I upload new content. As of now, my videos will not be uploading automatically to Odyssey. I'll have to upload them manually because of the non-compete with YouTube. So I got a notice a couple of weeks ago. So anything recent that I've done is going to only be on YouTube until I get a chance to go over to Odyssey to upload that content. And I think the content from Rumble still is uploading. So make sure you subscribe to the Rumble channel and the Odyssey channel in the event that this channel is taken down, as the majority of the current and new content will be produced on YouTube until they shut us down. If you'd like to support the channel, links for my coffee and my Venmo are at the very bottom of the description box. This is a labor of love. Your donations are greatly appreciated. If you donated in the past, I really do appreciate it. As things get tighter, a lot of us are being persecuted. I'll just say that. A lot of us are being persecuted. So anything that you have to bless anybody that you get information from really is a blessing, because we take our time. We read these articles. We do our own research. We stick our necks out. You know, a lot of times people just read and share and talk, and they won't even like the video so it can be circulated. So please make sure that you're liking the videos, although I know the system can go in and unlike it and delete comments, but do your part. Make sure you share it on social media and support not only myself, but other watchmen and seers as well, and teachers, because we all are doing our parts, trying to put the pieces together to figure out what's happening right now and to warn as many people as we can. And we have to use the adversaries platforms to do it, but we doing it. Lastly, keep prepping. Y'all got to prep. You see, the weather is going to be an issue, so y'all better be getting them umbrellas, some sunscreens, snowshoe. Like I don't know what to tell you to get. Anything can happen. Just anything that's concerning weather, we should have. Go to discount stores, bargain outlets, and get things, tarps for your roof, tents just in case you lose your house. Um, those are things that you need to consider in your preps. And anything that can help sustain you for any type of weather crisis you need to have, because you don't know how weather is being modified and weaponized to take us out, or at least make life inconvenient for us so that we have to be relocated into one of their A21 cities, or the 15-minute cities, or a smart city, or wherever they want us to do, or be gone because we're the carbon they don't want. We just got to be ready. Pray that the Most High gives you direction for you and your family, your community, or your tribe that you are working with, and just keep the faith. Don't have any fear. Just be ready. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. All right, y'all, this is Marla K. I know it's not a fast topic to discuss, but it is very important because it is tied to this new global order and the beast system. This is part of the head of the beast system, controlling globally what happens, and governments and Wall Street and big tech all are in bed together. So don't think we got any friends. We don't have any friends. Those are the areas that we need to watch, because they control our time on this planet until the Messiah comes back to deliver us. So keep watch, family. All right. Love y'all. This is Marla K, and I'm out.